My story is going to be about when I was set up to and survived. When I was 20 years old, I was going to Columbia College in Chicago, and I'd saved up enough money to buy my first car. I was very excited, so I called up my stepbrother's cousin. Hey, I got a car. Do you want to see it? He's like, yeah, I'm over here. It was a house they were hanging out in Evanston, Illinois. So I drove over there. He comes outside and he checks out the car and he's like, congratulations, good stuff. I'm proud of you. And he's like, we're all inside hanging out. Come meet my friend. So I go inside and there was one guy there. He was my step cousin's friend. Very handsome, seemed really polite, and we hung out for a little while. And then it got time for me to leave. And as soon as I got up to leave, he got up and he was like, I know you just met me, but it's okay if you give me a ride. And he's like chatting me up and gets my number. Then we start hanging out after that. Then we became a little bit more than friends. Other people that we knew from the town was like, oh yeah, you know, he has a girlfriend. I'm like, that's not what he told me. I get a call on my phone and I don't know how this person got my number and it's some girl. He's like, yeah, you're dealing with my man. And I'm just like, girl, what are you talking about? And she says his name. I'm like, yeah, well, he lied to you and he lied to me. Why are you so angry with me? You should take it up with him. And she's like, yeah, well, I don't care if he lied to you or not. Just because you touched him, now I want to beat your ass. I just kind of laughed it off. I'm like, listen, say less. I don't need the drama. So like a day or two later, I meet up with him and I'm like, yo, somebody called my phone. I don't need this drama. This is stupid. It's beneath me and I don't want to deal with it. And he kept saying, oh, she's not going to do anything. She's not going to do anything. And I'm like, that's not the point. The point is that you lied and you led me to believe something else, which is not true. And he kept insisting, like, how is she my girlfriend when I've known her? I met her around the same time I met you. And I'm like, well, that's what she thinks. And that has nothing to do with me. And he did not like that. And over the next 2 days, he just calling me repeatedly, just blowing my phone up. I'd been dealing with him for about a month and a half now at this point. Calling, he's texting, he's apologizing. He's like, you know, we started out as friends, let's just hang out, blah, blah, blah. I pulled up on this street called Lake Street in Evanston, and I parked by this like kind of well-known park in the area called Penny Park. And he comes out and he comes and opens my car door and he leans in, he tries to kiss me, and I pull back and I'm like, what are you doing? Kind of laughed it off. I'm like, are you gonna get in? Because I got to go somewhere after this. And he's like, no, come upstairs. This is my friend's house. We've got some there, we're gonna hang out. And I'm just like, all right, but I can't stay long, I thought you were gonna get in the car. And he's like, no, it's cool. Before I continue, you have to understand I've been to other friends' houses with him. I didn't think anything of it up until this point. He was nothing but nice, charming, well-mannered, opened the doors for me, things like that. Seemed like a great person. He kind of leads me upstairs. He opens the door and there's a guy in there, and he introduces me to his friend, and he's kind of sweeping stuff up off the floor. I say hello to him, shake his hand, dab him up, whatever. And I sit down. I have my purse with me, and the guy I was talking to before, the one that invited me over, says, oh, go grab a glass, because there's a bottle of alcohol table. I immediately thought that was weird. I was like, I don't live here. Why would I go in his kitchen? And his friend like, oh no, it's okay. I gotta finish cleaning this up. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Just go ahead. Put my purse down. I started walking towards the kitchen. And as soon as I get past a door in the hallway, it opens and out walks a bunch of females I've never met before. And then another girl that I knew from high school. It was kind of like slow motion. I kind of just froze like a deer in headlights, because I was just my stomach dropped out of bottom on the ground. I was like, what is happening? So now I'm surrounded, and I could see maybe 6 females and the 2 guys, and they're yelling and they're screaming. I'm just not saying anything. I'm just standing there because I'm frozen. One girl walks up and she just pulls her arm back and punches me right in the face. And I was never a real soft person. I just kind of absorbed it and kind of just looked back at her, and she got mad that it didn't hurt me. Then they all basically attacked me, pounced on top of me. I'm backed in the kitchen, and my back is against the stove, and they're punching, kicking, stomping on me, just attacking me. I just kind of ball up like this, and I'm blocking, and just at this point I haven't even said anything, because I'm, like I said, I was completely shocked and caught off guard. Things are a little bit out of sequence, but at one point the guy that I was talking to comes in, and he kind of stands next to a girl who I later found out that's the girl that called me on the phone threatening me, and they had a in their hand. I found out later it was a wooden pole. To me it looked like a rusty pipe or something like that, and they start beating me with the pole. At a certain point, the guy that I met whose house it was supposed to be that was sweeping up when I walked in. He comes in the kitchen. He's like, yo, stop. Nobody touch her, you know. And everybody stops, and he walks up, and he grabs my arms, and he's like trying to pull my arms down off my face. He's like, it's okay, it's fine. Nobody's gonna hit you anymore. You can go. Nobody's gonna hit you anymore. So he pulls my arm down off my face, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, fine. At least somebody in here has some sort of sense. And he full force punches me dead in my face and knocks me out completely unconscious. He just did that so they could stomp on my face better, because I was blocking and they weren't getting in the hits they wanted to or whatever. I'm unconscious, and when I wake up, I'm being brutally beaten. I felt like they were trying to crush my skull. That's how the force of all these feet and weapons, and I don't know what else they were hitting me with. I can't even be honest, but something said in my head oh my God, they're trying to kill you. Because eventually something's gonna break, you know. You can't keep stomping on somebody's skull like that and face like that. I decided that, okay, well, I have to fight back. I kind of mind you, all these people are on top of me. I just kind of pushed up and kind of stood up, and I reached back by the stove burner, and I just felt for what I could, and I grabbed the stove burner, the thing that goes on top where you put the pot on top. And I just swing, boom, and I hit one of the girls. She goes down, and I swing again, and everybody they kind of parted like the Red Sea, and I just ran. I made it to the front door, the door that I just came through. Probably maybe, I don't know how long I was unconscious for, but the door I just came through, it had 3 locks on it. I get to the door, I open the first lock, click, second lock, click, then third lock, the one that was on the doorknob, and then I turned the doorknob and I opened the door, and I am literally lifted off my feet by my hair and slammed on the ground, boom, by the same guy that just punched me in the face. And then he grabs the door and slams it back shut. So I was this close to getting out. Just for reference, this is a grown man. I was 20 years old and I was 125 pounds. I'm only 5'2". He literally lifted me off my feet, and I tried to get up again. The girl that I hit comes around the corner with the same stove burner and whacks me in the face with it. Boom. And I fall back, and every time I fall back, somebody grabs me and holds me up. Then I push them off, I'm semi-conscious, and I run towards the window, because at this point I'm gonna just jump out the window. I knew I'd probably break an arm or a leg, but I'd survive. They grabbed me before I could make it in the window. They're and there's countless yelling and screaming. I don't even know what they were saying at this point, and I wasn't trying to hear anything. I was just trying to get out. They grabbed me and stopped me from jumping out the window. Someone told them to be holding me up. The girl picked up the bottle that was on the table when I came in, and she bashes me over the head with the bottle. All I remember is woozy. I just felt my face get really hot, and I just touched my face, and then I looked at my hand, and my hand was completely covered in it was just spouting out of my head at this point. And then I look over, and there's a girl on the wall, and she's looking straight ahead. She's not looking directly at me. This is the only person in there that I knew from school. I kind of reached out the same hand towards her, and I said her name. And as soon as I said her name, boom, I just passed out. At this point, fighting to wake up, fighting to stay awake. I just kept saying get up in my mind, open your eyes. And my eyes are there's all over me, my face. At this point, the shirt that I had worn over there was completely torn off. My bra was torn off. I was naked from the waist up. Well, I guess this is how it ends, you know. It's what else am I gonna do? I'm being hit by 5 females and bottles and stove burners and grown men. At one point, the guy that punched me in the face, had his foot on my head. Construction steel toe work boots. I was unconscious, and then I woke up because I felt this burning sensation on my back, and I popped up. One of the guys had put his out on my back. The girls were back in the kitchen running around talking, trying to figure out what to do. At one point, these are the men, grabbed my pants and started pulling my pants down. One of the females was what are you doing? He was oh, well, you know. And she's nah, not here, not here. I'm laying there, I'm trying to say the prayer, and these people had been possessed or something, because here I am, there's a half-naked girl who's spouting everywhere, mumbling on the ground. She was so disturbed by it. She bent down. She said, what the are you saying? That's one of the parts that sticks out to me the most, because why do you care what I'm saying? I'm your prisoner at this point. And she was just screaming and yelling and pacing back and forth. And at one point I felt something cold rubbing up and down my back, and I'm in and out of consciousness at this point. I'm still trying to finish the prayer, and all I hear is, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm not going to jail for this and for this. So then she starts pressing the knife into my back, and one of the girls grabbed the knife out of her hand, and she was just calm down, or wait, just wait. And then they start discussing how to me and what to do with my body. One of the girls was like, oh yeah, let's her naked and we can dump her in the ditch. I'm hearing them talk about what to do with my body. So I just continued praying. What am I going to do at this point? I'm probably going to. So I remember getting to the end of the prayer and there was a knock on the door. I saw this like whispering and rushing around, and they go outside, and whoever came in the door was like freaking out because here's a half naked girl on the ground. All I hear is boil some water, go out the back door. There's a lot of whispering and running around. I heard doors open, doors closed. I like tried to get up, and one of the girls was like, don't move, don't move. The people that came through the door were just sitting there talking for a second. They were like, don't move, the ambulance is coming, the ambulance is coming, something of that sort. And I kept trying to get up, and they kept pushing me. The girl kept pushing me back down, like, don't move, the ambulance is coming. Then I hear sirens, some more doors open, and some more people leave, and the police come in, and literally the police officer is like, oh my God. And he like flips me, like helps, makes me sit up, and he's like, oh my God, are you okay? What happened to you? What happened to you? I'm like, I can't talk, because the girl that just attacked me was standing right there. The people that came in and told her to call the ambulance were gone at that point. They put me in the ambulance and they take me to the hospital. It was almost like I didn't feel anything that happened in that house. But as soon as like I got in the ambulance and they put me on some stiff board, like I felt like my head was just going to fall apart. It was the most excruciating pain I'd ever felt. At this point, my mom was working at the hospital that they were taking me to. We get there, they do x-rays, a CAT scan. They like gave me like a IV pain medication. I like was screaming, I was shaking, I was just really in bad shape. My mom came and she's like, oh my God, she's like, she was trying to stay calm because she knew if she started crying that I would flip out. They were like, some of the people, the nurses taking care of me knew my mom. And so they were just like, I can't believe this is your daughter. I didn't want her to be like embarrassed. I don't know. That's the way I was thinking of it. Like, how embarrassing for her. I was staying with my aunt because I was in college at the time. So she takes me to my aunt's house and they help me upstairs. I'm like heavily medicated. So I like pass out or whatever. The hospital calls the next morning and they said I had multiple hematomas. I had a fractured skull where I was hit in the head with the bottle. They had put 2 or 3 staples in there. They had like shaved that area where they stapled my head back together. And the facial x-ray, they said that I was hit so hard in the face that my nose was broken, but it wasn't even a fracture. An entire piece of bone from here to here in my orbital socket was just shattered. Like it was off. It was free floating. It wasn't attached to my nose anymore. My phone rings and my aunt, she grabs and she answers it. She's like, who is this? Like interrogating them. The person on the other line, like, I'm so sorry. I didn't help you. So she puts it on speakerphone. I'm like, who is this? My lips were also like busted and swollen, and my speech was like not the best. So I'm like, who is this? And when I got hit in the head and I saw that girl standing against the wall that I knew from school, that was her. She was apologizing and saying that she's so sorry for not helping me and that she was so afraid that if she tried to help me, they would turn on her. My aunt's like, well, now you need to do the right thing, because at this point, I had no idea who these people were. I didn't know their names. I didn't know where they were from. The only person I knew was the guy who set me up. She and her mother go down to the police station. She tells them everything. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even know their name. After she did this, then the police, my aunt took me down to the police station to pick out their pictures out of a lineup. It's not like any movie. It was like a book of photos. And I was able to identify them. I don't think I'll ever forget what they look like. And as I identified them, they'll be like, yeah, that's so-and-so. Turns out that 2 of the girls was the guy I was talking to's sister. The other 2 was his quote-unquote girlfriend and her sister. The other guy was his friend. Throughout the investigation, I found out that they were more people in that house than I knew. Apparently, they were having a party before I got there. When I pulled up, everyone went in the room and hid. When I came in, I thought it was just him and his friend there. Turns out there were 2 or 3 or 4 other people hiding in the room, absolutely afraid to come out. They could have came out at any time and stopped it. They could have came out and helped me, and they did not. The days following that, they were on the run. I'm trying to heal. Eventually, 3 weeks or a month later, I had to have facial reconstructive surgery. The police would call me, so they kept like catching each one after the other. And whenever they caught one, the other one would snitch on another person. Then they would like come and update me and tell me like, that's how I found out there were more people in that house. The step cousin who I wouldn't even know this guy if it wasn't for this person, because I went to show this person my car. He was in that house before I got there. And when I pulled up in my car, the girl said that he looked out the window and said, "Oh yeah, there she is. That's her car." Then him and his girlfriend left out the back door. It was more than one person I was set up by. All it would have taken was a text message. Didn't even have to call me. Anyone had to say was, "Venice, don't go in the house. Don't believe him." Nobody stopped me. I had black eyes for like 3 months. Everyone at work sent me cards and like gifts and stuff like that. I was a receptionist at a retirement home. They assured me, like, whenever you're feeling better, your job is secure. Leading up to the first court case, so it was me, my mom, my stepdad. We get there. I didn't want to see them. The victim's advocate person that was there, she like, "Oh, I heard about you, what he did to you." And she took me aside and this lady starts telling me how this guy that I've been talking to for a month and a half was a diagnosed sociopath with psychopathic tendencies. And then she shows me his rap. I'd never seen so many charges in my life. It was like 30, 40 charges. Like, he had a lot of domestic batteries, like does harm to women and things like that. And then he uses this charm to like convince them to drop the charges. And I was just like, "Are you serious?" She's like, "Yeah, everyone's either too afraid to press charges, they don't show up for court, they just want to forget what happened, and or they're too afraid of him, or they don't want to be bothered with it." And she said, "I'm the only woman that followed through, the only woman that press charges. How do they just have these people just walking around?" And she was just saying, usually it's just him. So there was one incident with the mother of his child where his 2 sisters beat her up, and he was there, and he basically set her up too. She's like, "But what he did to you, this is the worst charge he's ever gotten." Like 6 months after this happened, I go to my doctor because I kept having this pain in my head, this throbbing pain. And my doctor examined me, did x-rays. He said, "Physically, there's nothing wrong with you anymore." I'm like, "So what is this pain in my head?" And he said, "Hold out your hand like this." So I held out my hand, and my hand was just like this. And I'm like, why is my hand shaking? He's like, "Because you have PTSD." He never left me alone. Like, he wasn't supposed to be contacting me in prison. He had people 3-way calling me. I had to change my phone number. I moved. He's never actually left me alone. 3 of the girls got 3 years, were sentenced to 3 years in prison. His friend got 8 years. He had a longer rap sheet. And the person that set me up got 5 years. One of the girls was a minor, so she got like a slap on the wrist. He served his 5 years and then got out, and they notify you every time each person gets out. And then my car window was busted out. My tires were slashed. Every time I try to report it I'm like, I know who this is. That he's a career criminal. He would bust out other people's windows in the same vicinity, so it looked like a random thing. This has happened to me 3 times. What am I gonna do? He went to prison for 5 years. They came out. It was maybe 6 months to a year before my windshield was busted out. If I want to, I could put a restraining order, another one against him. But it's just like, then I'd have to go to court, and then I have to see him again. And that's what he wants. He wants to see me. I'm not afraid of anyone. There isn't a human being on this planet that strikes fear in my heart. I will never be afraid of anyone ever again. Whether you're religious or not, or spiritual or whatever, the universe or God didn't put all these tools on this earth for us not to use them. Therapy is one of those tools given to us by God, given to us by the universe. Yes, prayer changes. I'm proof of that. But also putting in the work and going to therapy can really change your life. And do not let anyone make you feel ashamed of going to therapy, of bettering yourself, of finding your happiness.